Hello everyone and welcome to this special Enderal stream together with me, OBearry, and here together with me, Nicolas. Hello, Nicolas.
Hello everyone.
So, Nicolas, you have been the project leader and the writer of Enderal and the Forgotten Stories DLC. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so as a project leader, what is your job? What is your responsibility working with this exactly?
Well, I guess pretty much everything. I mean, it was different for the main game, but especially for Forgotten Stories, I was responsible for the voice acting, and just basically like a project schedule, and just basically making sure that the vision is realized the way we wanted to. I mean, obviously, I didn't do this by myself, but
really?
yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, there was also a lot of PR and like interviews and getting in touch with Bethesda and these kinds of things. So I guess that was like my administrative position, but I also did like a lot of scripting and 3D modeling. I did pretty much. I guess I was kind of like a jack of all trades for Enderal. But I mean, my specialty was writing. Obviously, that's where I invested most of my time in.
Your specialty was what? Writing?
Sorry, the writing. Yeah.
Yeah, the writing. Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk more about the writing as well. But first, before we get into everything that I want to ask you about, I think we should start off with what is Enderal? For those people that haven't heard about it at all, how do you describe it to new people?
Well, I'd say Enderal is pretty much an open world RPG based on Skyrim. So it's a game that uses Skyrim's engine, the framework, and some of the assets and the basic mechanics, and turns them into something new. But it stands on its own. It has like it has 150 hours or 120 hours at least of story, and like a huge world to explore. And I guess what really makes it stand out that it has like this kind of old school vibe and a very I want to say, yeah, it's a different kind of story, and it puts a lot of emphasis on characters and believability.
Right.
I guess it's
yeah. The story, it's more heavy on the storytelling and the characters telling the story.
Yeah.
From what I picked up, it seems like also from what I only played a couple of hours, so I'm just in the beginning, but just from the intro and the cinematics and the story, how it's introduced, it's very dark, like darker than the Skyrim in some way. And when I've been playing, people have in the chat, my viewers, they also seem like the ones that are really the ones that really likes the game are also the same people that loves it because of its story. It's a big pillar of the game, a big like a big deal, and that's the writing.
I think so.
And you've been very involved in the writing.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote all of the dialogue. I designed the story together. Yeah.
Yeah, good job. It's amazing.
Thank you. And I developed the story, like the main, like the bare bones of the story, together with the second project lead, who wasn't involved in Forgotten Stories anymore, Johannes. But yeah, I mean, it's very, I guess it's very story driven, definitely. And most people most fans, they come back for the story, I guess. But not only, I mean, the landscape, like what the level designers did for the landscape and the gameplay, I think it also makes it worth playing. They did an amazing job.
Exactly. So yeah, so the story is compelling and it's amazing, and that's one reason why people come back. And you mentioned the landscape, so because I guess one question I have is like, what is the difference between this and Skyrim? Since the mechanics are similar and looks kind of similar at first glance, what are the big differences between this and Skyrim?
Well, I mean, I guess a very obvious difference is that we have more biomes. It's not just snow and tundra. It's we have forests, we have meadows, we have deserts, tropical islands, etc. Design-wise, I'd say that level design-wise, we also had a more handcrafted or more detailed approach to it. So you'll find a lot of dungeons that look very unique, or that have like each have a unique theme. Again, it's also like it's a bit old school in some regards. So sometimes we kind of I guess we made dungeons deliberately harder, or we didn't shy away from making the gameplay challenging at the risk of losing casual players.
Right.
It's also a big difference. I mean, there are also some crucial gameplay differences. We got rid of the learning by doing system. You improve your skills via experience point. Like you earn experience points, and then you gain skill points, which you can invest to increase your skills. And a lot of that, we also overhauled the entire class system. So, and I mean, you know the game a bit, so you know that you have, I believe it's 11 classes to choose from now, and you won't have enough talent or class points to max out all of these. So we kind of forced the player to commit, which is again something you see in old school, or I don't want to say hardcore because Enderal isn't hardcore, but more like those kinds of games. Whereas, for example, Skyrim has like a heavy emphasis on freedom. So you can do anything you want, and that kind of reflects in the entire design of Skyrim. And of course, there's the story. I mean, I already mentioned that, but we have a different approach to writing in general. I think that's also worth mentioning. It's not just that it's darker and like the themes are different. It's just that the approach is very different.
I think you're selling the game really well, Nicolas. I think you make it you make it sound interesting, and because one of my first impression after the first cinematics and like the intro was like, when I entered the world of Enderal, I was like, okay, so now it's just going to be exactly the same as Skyrim, but it's not. It's very different. And when I'm playing it, just starting out, and I'm also listening to you, I get more and more excited. We're gonna have to pause the questions here because I have this beast that I have to kill here. I'm gonna see if I can take it on. So I'm going for like a mage kind of stuff thing here, and I'm gonna take down this cave troll fairly easy, actually.
Let's see.
Just with one blow here. Well, I emptied all my mana, but I mean, I didn't die.
You made it.
So this is a win.
Congrats. What difficulty are you playing on?
Oh, I'm playing on Adept, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it's not the easiest, but it's like
it's the second easiest.
Right. So
I think you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think you're doing yourself. I mean, I personally always play the game on Master, but I think it's...
You're making me feel that.
No, I don't want to make you feel that.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'm wrong. No, I was just saying the beginning is very challenging. Like some players, we got some Steam reviews from frustrated players who couldn't make it past the first area because...
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they didn't think about, maybe just turning down the difficulty for some reason.
Yeah.
They just rage quit it. Cool. Yeah. What class are you playing, by the way? I'm curious.
Well,
do you know already? I mean, you're playing a mage, but what are you going for?
I mean, I want to try the summoning and the death magic. I know, but I also am going for the elemental magic to start off a little bit. And I also, I said I was playing easy, the difficulty easy before to my stream, but then I looked in the launcher when I start up the game, there are like 5 different like difficulty levels, and it was set on adept. So I don't know exactly what the difference is between easy and adept, but it's still like one of the lower ones because I didn't want to have it too challenging in the beginning. I just wanted to experience the world and the story more than, you know,
Die.
banging my head against the stone wall 5 minutes into the game.
You have Dark Souls for that, so.
I love Dark Souls, and I just played the first game this year, so yeah, I didn't want that this time.
No, I can relate totally.
So,
I mean, outside of Enderal, I'm also I'm a sissy when it comes to gaming, and I don't like hard games because I'm just too easily frustrated. So.
Oh really?
I can relate. That's what I'm saying.
And you are, but you play this on master difficulty, on the highest difficulty. How do you?
Yeah.
How do you even?
Because I just.
How do you? How do you play in the beginning? Because in the beginning you don't have any armor, you don't have many skills. Like, how do you survive? Do you die a lot in the beginning?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you have to dodge attacks. It's harder because we don't have like a dodge button, but you can if you do it right, you can dodge the attack. You can anticipate the attacks and dodge them. But it's easier to do it like if you play a warrior class. Yeah, you got it. If you play a warrior class, it's a bit easier because you have a shield.
Yes.
And bash and stagger enemies. So.
I'm gonna leave this dungeon that I'm in because I can't do an interview and dodge these, and then just it's gonna be too much
multitasking.
They are exiting the dungeon. Oh my god, they found me, Nicolas.
Oh shit. Run for your life.
I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, I forget that as well. It's a Skyrim AI.
Let's see if I can get these guys. I got them, Nicolas. It's fine. Okay. So can you not wield a shield and do magic in this game?
And still survive.
Oh wait, can you? Can I? Can I wield a shield and do magic with the other hand and block?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can do that. That's like a basic Skyrim feature as well. You can.
I never played.
Yeah, you can assign magic to one hand and a shield. And you also got your talents. They're super powerful. Yeah, you should use them. I know if you have one already. You should have one.
Oh yeah. I have the one so I can use. It uses less mana when I do magic, I guess.
Yeah.
All
that
right.
sounds weak, but it's actually really helpful.
Yeah, and you can do it over and over and over without any penalty. Yeah. I just realized that as well, and I was like, wow. So okay, let's go on with the questions here. A little bit more about that I want to know about the game. And then at the end here, we're going to do a Q&A. So I want everyone who's in chat and have questions for Nicolas to save your questions. And in a little bit, I'm going to let you guys loose and fire all the questions if you have any at Nicolas. But tell me more about how much have you written? How many words of dialogue do you have to write to fill a game like Enderal? How many pages, like how big is this book that you've written? It would be
well, in terms of books, I guess, like off the top of my head, I think around 300,000 words, which is 3 books basically. Yeah, I think that's
3 standard size books.
Paperback novels. Yeah,
that's quite a lot. Did you ever write books? Oh my god, I got scared in the game because the music and the wolves attacked me. Okay. You're gonna have to tell me about the books here in a second. Sure. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh my, that's really scared me. That was so funny. Yes. You wrote the book? That's what you said.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Tell me about the book.
I wrote several books. But only one of currently available.
Okay.
I'm actually writing for free. Like it can be read for free on my Patreon.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's set in the Enderal universe, and it actually explores the past of Jaspar, who you already met.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's a standalone novel, so it's not like it doesn't require too much knowledge about the game. So it's yeah, I try to make it, you know, a standalone thing. Like I want people who don't play video games or who never heard of Enderal to be able to enjoy it as much as Enderal players. So,
but you're writing this and it's for free to download and read?
Yeah, it's for free. It's on my Patreon.
So how do you
find
find
it? On our Facebook page, or on our Discord in the announcements.
What is your Facebook and Discord page for those who don't know at all where to start looking? What's it called?
Yeah, it's my name. Very imaginative. It's just Nicolas Lietzau. I can actually just drop a link in the chat.
You can drop a link in the chat, and we will also put it in the description when this comes on, if you're watching this on YouTube. So if you want the link to Nicolas' page where you can find the book set in this world, you can find it there.
Just because I saw the question in the chat, first of all, thanks Annie. She just said that she's enjoying the novel.
Yes,
and
awesome.
Elo Cara, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also wrote the Butcher of Ark.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
We read, so the Butcher of Ark, I found it already, like a first book, I guess, the first chapter, and it's in the beginning of the game.
Oh, you read it?
We only read the intro before the first chapter even started. But it was a couple of pages, and I got really intrigued, and I was about to go on and read it, and then the chat just screamed at me, "You don't read the whole book. We gotta, like, all the viewers."
It's a long book.
It's a long book, yeah.
I understand that. I mean, it's also
why do you write
an old book.
What?
It's also an old book. Like I would say I have grown as a writer. Like, to be honest, I'm a bit ashamed of it. I still think the story is good, but like the writing itself, like, you know, the craft, not so much, I guess. So if you're interested in my writing, I strongly recommend you check out the Enderal novel, Dreams of the Dying. That's what it's called.
Okay, yeah. Well, isn't that great that you have like how your writing has been developing over the years, like is it collected in one game? Because some things that you wrote for the game are stuff you wrote a long time ago, and maybe some things that you wrote in the game are like newer stuff where you actually become better. I'd say the dialogue is sorry to interrupt you. Well, you go on. I'm sure it's going to be great either way.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to say the dialogue is, I guess, is on a pretty consistent level, in terms of craft or skill. I think the Butcher of Ark, or the books, are really like because I didn't come back and revise them after release, just because it was just too much work. Yeah. And it was already out there, you know, so I sort of focused on my new project instead. But I think the dialogue, I think there's a different, I think you can see a difference. I don't know how players perceive it, because, you know, as a developer, you obviously have a very skewed perspective on your game.
Sure.
But I think the Forgotten Stories content, the Relata questline, which you're probably gonna find at one point, all the new quests we added in Forgotten Stories, they have a different level, like a different level of skill in terms of writing. So,
do you feel like working on this game has helped you a lot to develop your writing skills in general? Like,
oh, totally, absolutely. It's been amazing. Like, not just in terms of skill, but also, well, I guess it's kind of a bit personal, but you know, if you've never published anything, you don't really know if people are interested in what you have to say.
Sure.
So, you know, I've been carrying this around for the entire development. I mean, we showed the game to a couple of people, also to the press, or at university, a couple of times, but I was never sure if it was really good, you know, or as good as I felt it was, because obviously as a writer, you kind of you're passionate about what you do, and I don't want to digress too much, but there was this one. It's a very funny anecdote. In university, I presented one of the quests, which I'm not going to spoil you, but it's the Silver Grove quests, the Reneus quest. So some people in the chat or some people who played Enderal will know this quest, and it's one that not everybody likes it, but it resonates quite strongly with other people. And it was one of my favorite quest lines, and I showed this to my professor, and he basically told me it's shit.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I was sad. Like I wouldn't say I was crushed, because I was kind of rebellious. And so I was like, okay, well, obviously, of course, inwardly, like I was I don't know, insecure, I guess. Started doubting myself, and so to come back to your original question, then when the game finally came out, and you know, it didn't make us super famous or rich, but people were loving it, and it really resonated quite strongly with some people. I mean, you're not at that point in the game yet, so I guess you'll find out how much you will like it, but that really helped me writing wise, because you know, I made the experience that people, at least some people out there, really like what I do. They really want to hear the stories I have to tell. So that was an incredibly valuable motivational boost. And whenever I start doubting myself with my novels or with my other work, I always come back to Enderal, and I kind of read through the comments and the mail, because it's just really motivating. It's a great boost. And of course, you know, skill-wise, of course, it helped. Like, the only way to get better as a writer, is to write, and working with all those talented actors, and you know, just seeing how people receive your plots or how they liked your plots or the story. It really helped. So that was a very long answer.
But it was amazing. What a great anecdote, having someone that you kind of, maybe, I don't know if you looked up to him, but someone of authority telling you that your work is really bad, and then having like doing a great success, especially with the story in Enderal, and having so much great feedback, which I imagine that you got. So I'm really happy. Did you change anything after you got the bad negative feedback, or were you You said you were rebellious and proud of what you've done, and you should, and that was in your right. I mean, you know, glad you stuck with it.
Thank you. I mean, I think I'm open to criticism, definitely, but I think, like, my relationship with that professor, interestingly enough, we're like on good terms now, but back then at uni it was very conflicted or problematic, because I don't know, it just felt like his dislike for me was kind of irrational, like, and I guess it was because I have no idea, actually. I have no idea what it was, but I think it had something to do with the way I was, my self-confidence in my ideas. And I think that's what some professors don't like, that, because they want
to be the best.
Yeah, they just kind of ask for, you know, like just unconditional respect. And I don't mean respect as a person, because every person should be respected. Also respect as like a craftsman, I guess. And I hope it doesn't make me sound arrogant, but it was just like the guy just didn't convince me. Like, I thought some of his lectures were strange, and whenever I asked questions, he got upset. So I guess some of his brutal critique of my of the Silver Grove quest was also kind of rooted in that.
I just died. Of course,
sorry. Oh, another wolf. Yeah, the grass is really tall, so it's kind of hard to see the enemies sometimes, especially at night.
Yeah. You came out victorious of that. What shall we call it? Intellectual fight with your professor. I came out dead from my what's it called?
Your encounter with the wolves.
Encounter with the wolves. Yeah. It's crazy. That's fine. I'm waiting. Like, also, it's still nighttime. I mean, the night is as long as the day. That makes sense. That's what.
You can check what time it is.
Oh yeah.
If you just press escape, It should tell you what time is it. It is. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I can just wait, can't I? No, I have to search for a bed.
Not in Enderal.
Not in Enderal.
Okay.
It's 1 a.m.
Sorry. You tap. Yeah, it's tap. You have to. Oh, did you see the time? Okay.
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, it's behind me. I'm covering the.
Ah, okay. That's why I didn't see it.
Yeah, I do have a torch somewhere.
You can sleep. You can sleep as well if you want to.
Ta-da! I got a torch.
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, here you go.
We are. We're gonna do a Q&A a little bit later. I'm going to take some more time just for my own selfishness and talk to Nicolas a little bit more. I guess I kind of want to know like what this project has meant to you and how big part of your life it has been, and I kind of want to hear how it started and now what has happened, what is going on now. But we can start off a little bit if you just want to tell us about where were you in your life when you kind of when Enderal happened to you.
Yeah, that's an interesting story actually, because I'm not sure if you know this, but SureAi made 3 more games before that, and one of them is it's a total conversion for Oblivion called Narim, and I wasn't involved in that, but I played it and I loved it because a friend told me about it, and so I started studying game design, and one of my co-students, he presented his portfolio, and his one of his portfolio pieces was Narim, and I guess you could say starstruck. I was like, what, you made that? And so we basically started talking, and then I think it was him who, after seeing my portfolio, he asked me if I was interested in helping out with the writing.
Yeah.
So that's basically how I joined SureAi. That was in September 11, before Skyrim was even released. And they were already, the other team members and the second project lead, they were already kind of writing concepts and brainstorming what they wanted to do, and so I joined, but originally as a side quest writer, but then it kind of just, I guess, grew organically. I just started writing more and more, just taking on more and more responsibility, and I guess it just naturally transitioned into that second project lead position. And that's how it started. That's how it all started. I was at first, to be honest, tell you the truth, like when I started, I wasn't sure what to, I wasn't yet, I guess I didn't anticipate, or I had no idea how big that project would become, not just in terms of pure scale or success or anything, more like I had no idea it would keep me busy for 8 years. That was
8 years it's been.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So what is the business side of this, because it's a free game once you have Skyrim, the original game? How is it financed? Because it's quite a big team.
Not. Well,
it's just not.
It's not financed. That's a simple answer. There's a longer answer to that, obviously. But
but you've been working so much for this. So do you?
Yeah, not just.
And a lot of people and a big team. So how many people have been involved?
Well, I guess the core team was always about 7 simultaneously active members. It's got more.
Yeah.
New, very, very dedicated, committed, passionate people joined us for the add-on. So I'd say the core team, or the faces behind Enderal, I guess about 10 to 15 people maybe. And there were a lot of people who just joined temporarily and just dropped out for personal reasons, or maybe some of them just disappeared, as sad as it is. And of course there were lots of external developers involved, 3D artists, hundreds of voice actors, but I guess the core team was really like 10 to 15 people, I'd say.
10 to 15. But that's not a big team for the scale of this game.
No, but that's because we had the engine to work with, so we could really focus on the design part.
All right. Okay.
But in terms of design, it wasn't that different. AAA production, like we had a lot of designers, but we just didn't have a lot of coders, and the engine was there, the animations were there, so yeah. But there was it was a lot of work. I think I think it must have been like, I forgot the number, but I think it was 30,000 hours. I think
30,000 hours. It's really hard to grasp as they just. Okay, so how important has this been for your professional career? Is that a thing even?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm a professional game writer.
Yeah.
It's what I do. So yeah, it definitely got me a foot in the door. So it helped me a lot. I got my position. Actually, the second project lead, Johannes. Actually, a lot of SureAi people are now working for THQ Nordic for Grimlaw Games, which is the studio I currently work for.
So SureAi, it was born with Enderal, with coming together to create Enderal, or?
No, it was we were there way before.
All right, it was
Dennis.
Before, okay.
Yeah, Dennis and Johannes. Those are the two, I guess, founding fathers, you could say. They kind of created SureAi back in 2003. So it's been ages.
It's been ages. And also, okay, so you also answered the question, like kind of where you are now, and it's been a great journey for everyone. How many of the people that are in the community have been there for like the whole ride? Were there people not backing the game? You never asked for money or anything, but people that have been supporting you since the beginning and been there. How important is community for a game like this?
Well, I mean, you don't, bigger studios, they have like full-time positions for community building and all that, but we definitely had some beginning, and also in actually in particular for my novel, the Enderal novel, I have some very loyal readers, and we had that for Enderal as well, and it's incredibly important.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a very, I guess, passive person when it comes to interacting with products I like. So I could love a game to death, and I could love a book to death, and and the author would never know, because I don't like his Facebook page, I don't comment. It's just because I don't really like social media, so
I get it.
But if you're one of those people, one of those fans who do express their appreciation, keep going, because I can tell you that it's very important to the developers, especially if you kind of support a project in the creation stages, because people are constantly very self-critical about their work, so it really helps to know people out there. There are people out there who really look forward to the product. Yeah.
I feel like, especially for a game like yours, where you don't have money as kind of a motivator. I know it shouldn't be the first, like the biggest thing for game developers, but like you don't do it for money, you just do it out of passion, and having a community to back you up. I can really understand that becomes really important and really helps you as well. So it's
that's the reason you're doing it. I mean, there was some kind of rational element to it, I guess, because a lot of the people who worked on Enderal were basically aspiring professionals, and
Right.
but it was never just that. Like you don't invest 30,000 hours of your life into something just because you want a portfolio piece. So, yeah, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but no, I guess, yeah, I think I can speak for everybody when I say for the entire team. It's mostly about it's about realizing an idea and creating a game or story and experience you love. So it sounds extremely cheesy, but
No, it sounds good. Yeah, I get more like I think yeah, I get much more motivated, inspired
cool.
by that kind of like sentiment. Then, but because that's the problem with a lot of big game developers these days, that
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to relate or talk to them, or like the people
Mm-hmm.
behind it. It's big businesses, and they are there's a lot of money involved, and sometimes that can get in the way, I feel like, definitely. uh
Oh yeah. Though I would say I'd argue that it's most, from my personal experience, it's usually the management side of things.
right.
And that's probably too one-dimensional. Sorry. But I mean, I guess I haven't met a single game developer who does, at least who does double or triple A games. There are some very cynical people out there doing mobile games. Not all of them, of course, but some of them are just very, those the studios who do a lot of contract work. It just kind of it becomes dull. Like I wouldn't be passionate about that either. But most game developers I know who work on double A or triple A productions are very, very dedicated. And sometimes
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you know the story, but for example, Anthem, sometimes very inspiring projects just
Yes. Yeah.
get wrecked by bad decision making,
Right.
and
Right.
it's feel really sorry for the employees because I mean they invest so much time and passion and I mean I don't know, life energy, I guess, into this thing, and then it just gets wrecked. It's very sad.
And maybe if they had a closer relationship to community, it could have turned out differently. Maybe not. We won't know if that's the
We won't
cause.
know. I mean, I guess I don't know. Like the game industry is very volatile and it's very
Yeah.
confusing and convoluted sometimes. I mean, it's on the one hand, it's so, especially the AAA commercial production is so commercial, I guess, so profit oriented because it has to be, just because it's so expensive to make. People have no idea sometimes. It's more
Yeah.
expensive to make a game than a Hollywood movie, for
Wow.
example. A AAA game.
Yeah, a AAA
Um,
game. Yeah.
yeah, and also, but then at the same time, even though it's so profit, it's very motivation driven. One of the reasons the working conditions in the gaming industry are sometimes very challenging is because there are some employers out there who capitalize off of that intrinsic motivation that people have. Like they know that developers love their jobs, and that's why they expect them to do crunch. And
Right.
whenever you kind of bring it up, they say, "Oh well, I don't know, then leave. There are a million other people who want to do your job." That's sad, but that's how it is in a lot of gaming. So there's this kind of, I guess, juxtaposition between being extremely profit oriented and then being super passionate. But I digress. I'm sorry.
I love it though. I think it's great. As you talk about it, just from your own perspective.
Hmm.
I maybe like one last questions before I just let everyone else join in here and ask
Hmm.
questions here. So where do you see yourself in the future? So let's say, where do you see yourself? I'm also getting attacked by dogs again. Hello. I'm trying to run away, just get some peace and quiet. I'm doing an interview here, guys. Can we get
And
some?
you can sprint if you hold down Alt. Try to hold down Alt. And you can
Oh!
sprint.
Game-changing mechanic.
very helpful.
I had no idea. Okay. So hopefully I can just, okay, hopefully that was, I don't know how far they follow me. I don't think they follow me this far.
Should be fine. You're almost at the village.
Right.
Well.
Maybe I should just go to the village. But where, okay, the question is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And what do you think will happen to Enderal, like, and this where the Forgotten Story is, like, how do you see, will it just be abandoned now, or?
I don't think SureAi will be abandoned. Like, there's some projects, there's some ideas cooking, but I'm personally not involved there because I myself, I mean, I guess that's something a lot of people don't want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm not that focused on the game industry, I guess. I mean, I personally, okay, so
Right.
where I see myself, just to answer that question first, is I definitely just want to make a living off my writing and my books, and not because I want to stop making games, just because I want to have that freedom of, because I find that very refreshing to have that freedom of being able to do what you want, and that's something I can do with my books.
Right.
A lot better with my books than with my games. Also, I'm also involved in the movie, which I'm working on
The movie?
I'm writing for a feature film. Yeah, and it's a very cool project, and I could also see myself doing that. I'm going to keep writing games, obviously. My job, my day job, and it's also a job I love. It's not like I'm counting the days, basically. So, but for me, right now my biggest goal is to publish books, the Enderal novels, but also I'm working on a horror novel, which is the story I've always wanted to tell.
Wow.
And then I'll just play it by ear, I guess. You know, once I can make a living off my books, then I'm a lot freer, I guess, in my decision making. So that's for me.
Well, I'm really excited for you and what's gonna happen next for you, and I also think that like I'm really excited to play the game. And I don't know. We were going to talk about I think it's been really nice because we talked about the game, but we also talked about. You got to share your story and kind of who you are and what you want to do as well, which I think is really nice for people to hear because it's easy to relate to. You're a human being, you have goals, and you have like things that you want to do. And I think it's inspiring just to hear that you want to go after your own things as well. And even if people might be sad that you're leaving the industry, I think we can all be happy that for everything you have done. Like you've put down more than 30,000 hours or whatever. So you done your part more than most of us for the game industry.
I have to add, I'm not leaving the industry.
All right.
Soon.
Oh, sorry.
It's not a given. Like it's just
right.
You know, I guess I'm not that guy who wants to. Okay, so I guess one way to say it is for me personally, and this is just me. Like I can't speak for the entire SureAi team, but. For me personally, I want to tell stories, and the medium doesn't really matter to me. And I think games are amazing, and they also offer, you know, a kind of dynamic with the recipient, with the player that a lot of other media don't have. But you know, what I told you about the working conditions and games you're just very limited, and I guess that's what bothers me. Enderal, I think the reason Enderal worked for some players, or for I dare say a lot of players, is because we weren't limited. Like there was nobody telling us what to do.
Yeah.
And even now with my current work for THQ Nordic, where I enjoy like a lot of, it's a great studio and I have like a lot of creative freedom, but even there I can't realize my ideas 100%.
No.
And that's just very frustrating because you're always limited by money, by time, by sometimes even by game design, which is fair, of course. Like you're making a game after all, you're not writing a movie. So, and you know, that's what I meant by I'm not focused on the game industry. It's like, of course, if I if I get the chance, or if we get the chance, SureAi to do something like Enderal again, then of course I'm going to take it. But I want to tell stories.
I hope there are gaming companies or game developers out there that, you know, understands how powerful it can be to, you know, trust in the developers and the writers to to realize their own visions, because it can become so beautiful and much more personal in a way that you don't really get, because otherwise you have to stay inside the safe zone, stay within certain limits, and it should be streamlined this way. And I really hope, I hope you get to realize your visions, and I will be happy if you, wherever you do it, but just keep going.
Thanks, man. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Okay, so everyone, please post your questions right now in the chat. If you have questions for Nicolas, post them now. We're gonna do a short Q&A here for a little while. And we got a first question here from Sarah Barra. Why did you choose Skyrim as the platform, and how did you come up with the idea for Enderal?
It's a lot of ground to cover, but that's fine.
Okay, choppy here. You have to go quickly now.
That's fine. Okay, I'll show you. I mean, Skyrim, as I said, like using Skyrim as a platform. When I joined the team, the platform was already decided upon, so it wasn't much of a choice. But if speaking for the team, it has to be, it just has to be mentioned that Skyrim just offers a lot of potential in terms of moddability. So there aren't a lot of games out there who the players or modders to go that deep. So that's what made it like a natural choice. I mean, I could go on for the.
That's good. That's good. That's a good length for. and how did you come up with the idea for Enderal?
Okay. Story-wise, probably I'll just read story-wise, I guess.
Yes. Let's go with that.
Okay. So again, like the story was developed by, like the macro story, the overarching plot was developed by Johannes and myself, who's the second project lead, and it was at the root of it all was actually I think this idea of a German was he Austrian? I know, just a psychologist called C.G. Jung. Like some of you might know him. It sounds very strange if you say it, but he had this idea of he had this idea of that human I guess thoughts or like human character traits or fears are epitomized by these entities, subconscious entities. Okay, and I'm not gonna spoil you because you don't know the story yet, but that was the basic idea. Like I thought that was a very cool idea, the collective subconscious, which epitomizes, which embodies.
Okay. I'm gonna stop you there. I'm gonna say that the idea comes from this Austrian. No, wait. This psychologist, C.G. Jung, and his theories about the mind and psychology, and we're just gonna leave it at that. Okay, moving on. What 3D modeling software are you using?
We used a couple of. I personally use 3ds Max, but for creatures, we used ZBrush and Substance Painter, I believe, and Quixel Suit. Yeah, Quixel.
And let's see, Annie, that was from Big Chief Fluffy Panda. And then Annie Pa has a question. Your mother tongue is German, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And is there a specific reason why you write Dreams of the Dying in English? ?
Well, first of all, my German writing isn't that good because I've lived in Australia for a couple. I mostly read.
Wait, you lived in Australia?
Yeah, like when I was a teenager.
Sure.
Yeah. Most of what I read, I mostly read in English, and also, and that was like the deciding element, I guess, was because my work for THQ is exclusively in English, so I just couldn't write good German prose even if I wanted to, even though it's my mother tongue. And also another reason is just all of my all my writers, my favorite writers, except for the guy who wrote the Perfumer's Perfume, are English speaking writers. So I guess I just like the English language a lot more when it comes to fiction.
Thank you. Elokara has a question. So between Nerim and Enderal, I heard that Enderal would be SureAi's last free game. Basically, they were practicing for bigger things. The next project would be commercial. Is there any info about that future?
Well, I know that, again, like I know that some other team members, and first and foremost, he's working on some commercial projects. I'm not sure if there were plans. Well, we actually started prototyping a commercial after Enderal. Oh no, sorry, which was to release after Enderal. But we had to abandon that project because we just didn't have the team to pull it off. Like, we had the designers, we had the writers, but we just weren't able to find enough good artists. And then a lot of us switched over to THQ, which was just a lot, I guess, easier, you know, a lot safer than trying an indie title. That's not all. Like, there were a lot of reasons why we abandoned that project. Would have been a very cool project though, story driven. What's the word? Dystopian survival game.
Okay.
But yeah.
We're gonna hop to the next question.
Sure.
Captain the Magic Kick wants to know: are there any dragons on other continents? Were they worshipped like in Skyrim? Are they intelligent species?
I want. Yeah, there are more dragons. To be completely honest, like I haven't put that much thought into it. I wanted for Dreams of the Dying. I wanted one book which deals a lot more with like mythical figures such as dragons. But I'm not sure which one that's going to be yet.
Cool. And Witch House 88 wants to know: we know player can become a werewolf, but is there any were creatures in the world?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Like the connection just broke up.
Yeah, so we know that the player can become a werewolf, but are there any were creatures in the world?
In the game world, like in the lore. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
in the
I see
game,
what you mean.
in the game or in the lore, I guess, in the world.
Yes, there are a couple you can actually meet and defeat in game.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna say where you can find them, obviously, but yeah, not so many. Like there are a couple, but I mean, we obviously would have loved to add like lycanthropes, more lycanthropes to the game world, but we just ran out of time. So, but there are a couple.
And the next question is from Royal Instinct. So, is there a way I can play this without Steam?
Well, I guess, to be honest, I'm not sure. Like, you could try the old version. I'm not sure if it's still functional. Like, you could try vanilla Enderal, which released back in 2016, and that was Steam free. But you can't play the latest. Like, you can't play Forgotten Stories.
Right.
Just because we don't have the service anymore.
Right. So the DLC can't be played without Steam.
No, unfortunately not.
Let's see. And Captain the Magic Kick has another question. Can a human become something like Dark Elf if influenced by demonic magic?
Like a Dark Elf?
Yeah, can a human become a Dark Elf if they're... Yeah.
Oh no, in Enderal in Enderal we only have the Eterna, like an elven kind of race. They are like not like humanoid elves, I guess. And it's like you're born Eterna. Like there's no way to transform.
Okay. Let's see. So Taloderp is asking, will we see or hear more of Vin Beyond Enderal and Dreams of the Dying?
I'm not sure yet. I mean, maybe, I guess. I don't want to say no, but for now it's probably just going to be Dreams of the Dying, which is, I mean, it's a series. It's going to be like between, I haven't decided yet, like 3 to 5 books. So there's lots of Enderal.
Yeah.
And I have this kind of weird fantasy. It's not going to happen, but maybe it gets turned into a series if it gets really successful, which would be amazing. But I don't know.
A series? Oh, like a
TV show.
A TV show, animated, or?
I don't know. I mean, everything's possible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of fantasy books, successful fantasy books, are currently being adapted. So it's not
Critical Role?
Unrealistic.
Question mark. Critical Role and
so.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So it's not out of the question, but it all depends on how well the book performs. But
okay. Okay, those were all the questions. Thank you so much. We're gonna stay here for those of you who are live a little bit, but we are gonna finish up this little video and conversation and interview and play time with Nicolas and this Enderal special episode. So thank you everyone for being here, and thank you, Nicolas. I hope I talk to you again soon.
Thank you. I just saw like a question by
you can answer it after I finish this episode.
Okay,
so
sure.
Bye everyone.
Oh, so sorry.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.